Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Data Science Professional Development session. My name is Dr. Etu, and I'll be the instructor for this summer's session and help guide you guys to learn and apply some of the data science concepts and also how to solve some examples using coding. And the tool we'll be using would be our program. But just a brief general overview. I think we'll go through our program, how to use R for some data science analysis or for data analysis. We'll also look at how to use R for hypothesis testing, for regression modeling, and finally for some forecasting analysis. But before we go into all of that, the very first thing we want to take care of today is how we can install R on our computers, right? I know some of you are using a Windows computer and some other people prefer a Mac computer. So we'll look at how to install our program on those two different systems. Although I'm using a Mac computer, so I'll basically show how to install it on a Mac, but it's still the same process. I put in the links for the installations for both Windows and R. So let's get started. All right, so what you would learn today, right? We'll basically look at these four different areas of what I expect everyone to learn from today's session. I basically got like a pre-lecture session. So the first topic is what is our programming, right? So basically, our programming is software that allows us to do statistical data analysis, right? So it's like, I would say, an advanced Excel with a really nice user interface that allows us to code and use all of that coding to analyze data. So in a nutshell, that's what R is about, right? And two different components help us to put together that R programming software. I think the first one is just called the R, which is basically like an IDE, right? That you can run from maybe a command prompt on your computer if you're familiar with that. And then the second one is called the RStudio, which is like a graphic user interface that allows us to do our coding there, see what the outputs looks like, and even download the outputs, and maybe you can copy them into PowerPoint presentations or even Word documents. So it's pretty nice and interesting. So that's kind of like a quick overview of what our programming is about. And then the second point there is the installation process. So we'll go through the entire installation process required to install R on either a Windows computer or a MacBook. Then I'll give you guys a tour of the RStudio interface, and then I have some YouTube tutorial videos which would serve as support videos in case you have maybe you run into an issue and you kind of need additional resources to go through that issue. And then also I'll give everyone my email address just in case you want to reach out to me with any questions or whatsoever you might have while going through this installation process. All right, so we've talked about a brief overview of what R is, right? So here are kind of like the instructions we need in order to install R and then RStudio on our computers, right? So I have two separate, I think I split it into two separate areas. For those using a Windows computer, point number one, the links in point number one are for you. And then for those using the Mac computer, the links in point number two are basically what we have to use, right? So whether you're using a Windows or a Mac, the first link is what you want to click on, right? Which will take you to the R IDE website. It's called CRAN, and it enables us to download the first tool for R. Right, so if you just click on it, all right, sweet. So it brings us to this website, right, which is the CRAN website. All I just need you to do is to click on the very first link here, right? Just click on it and it starts downloading. So if you look up here, so you can see here, it starts downloading. It's kind of like 94 megabytes. So it's gonna do all the downloads and everything. And then when it's done downloading, you could just install it, right? So I leave that to download there. Then if you're using a Windows, you could just click on it as well. And this is how the website looks like for Windows, right? So basically you just want to download the very first one. It's somewhere around 79 megabytes. So no issues or whatsoever. So just download this for Windows. Remember, for Mac, just click this first one. We download this one first. For Windows, you just click the first one. And this is the website for Windows. And this is the website for Mac, right? So I see it has finished downloading, right? So I kind of show you guys how it looks like. I won't be installing it because I already have it installed on my computer, but I'll show you how it would look like on your computer. All right, so this is it here in my downloads folder. And if I click on it, just double click on it. All right, this is what it's going to show me, right? It's going to show me this installer. So just like a regular way you install any software on your computer, just go through all the different steps, right? Continue, you really don't need to read all of this. You can click on continue, and then we just click on continue. It would ask you to do some agree or disagree. Go ahead and agree, and then proceed with the entire installation. So I'm not going to go through it completely because I already have it installed on my computer. So that's the very first software which we want to install on our computer, which is the R, right? So now the second one is the RStudio, which has the graphic user interface that allows us to do our coding, see the outputs, and also see like some graphs and all those different things which we would need for the data science topics that we'd be looking at through this professional education sessions. So I'm just going to click on the second one, which is the RStudio. All right, sweet. So it brings me to this website, right? So once you click on that link, the way I have that link set up, right? If you're using the Mac, when you click on the link for the MacBook, it directly brings you to this website that shows you the software you need to download for the Mac, right? For the Windows, once you click on this link for the Windows, it would take you directly to the link you need for your Windows computer, right? So please take note of that. So all I'm just going to do now is just click download, And as you can see up here, it's already downloading. It's kind of like 216 megabytes. So it's just going to keep downloading. I've downloaded it before, and I will just install that to show everyone how it looks like. So just remember to select which one you're, either a Windows computer or a Mac computer. Please take note of that. All right, so now over here, I'm just going to install the RStudio on my computer. You should just double click on it, right? And then it brings this out. So this is for Mac, right? For the MacBook, it's the way it's installed is pretty different, right? When compared to the Windows computer. So for the Windows computer, just double click on it and then follow the installation process. But for the Mac, all we just have to do is to just drag this into the applications, right? That's what we need to do there. And then go in there. RStudio. Yep, so this is it here. Oh. So I'm just trying to this. All right, so I'm copying it's being copied into my computer right now, the RStudio. So, all right, so now here we have it here. So now I can open it. All right, so let's click open. So we'll just let it do its thing. All right, it's opening on my other screen. So I'll give it some time. All right, so voila, this is how it looks like when we're done installing it, right? It's pretty simple and straightforward on the Mac. So just remember, once you download the RStudio, you just drag this RStudio into the applications, then double click on the applications, right? So so you just drag this in there, right? And then double click on applications, it's gonna open. Then all you need to do is look for RStudio. Let's see, so look for RStudio. All right, so this is it here. So just look for RStudio and then double click on it, right? Then it shows you that pop-up window and you click open on that. And then all of that is, just give it some time, the software would load and then it opens on your computer for you to see this, right? So for the Windows users, all you just need to do is double click on the downloaded application, right? Follow the installation steps. And then once you're done, go into your, like where all your applications get saved, right? Then you open it up from there, and you would still find exactly the same environment. So that is the installation process for our R. So I think we can close all of this. All right, so it's left to you if you want to trash this, because we don't need this anymore. So you could free up some space on your computer and just move it to the trash, right? All right, so this is our R, and this is basically how the RStudio looks like, right? So let's go back to. All right, so we just finished the installation process. And the third thing we have here is a review of the RStudio interface, which we would look at in a minute. All right, so I'll show you guys how to, like what the interface means, right? Where you can find things on the software, right? Where you would see outputs when you create graphs or charts and all those different things. Like that, right? And then when we start the first section, which is hypothesis testing, I'll teach you guys how to upload data into R, right? So it's just, we take it bit by bit so that everyone understands what we're doing. All right, so let's go to R. All right, so the first thing I want to point out is yeah, so sometimes, regardless of the type of computer you're using, either a Mac or Windows, right? When you install it, it shows up like this, right? You have the console so enlarged that it blocks the other tab that says source, right? So basically what you want to do is just on the right-hand side here. Okay, so I have my Zoom panel just, yeah. So on the right-hand side here, you have these two buttons that mean maximize and minimize, right? So you want to click on the maximize one, and it splits the source from the console, right? So please make sure you do that, or else you'll be typing in your code into a wrong screen, right? Or should I say a wrong layer, right? So we have 4 different layers here, which you could see on my screen. The first layer is where, or the first, I'll probably call it console, is where you type in your programming codes, right? So all the coding we would do all through these sessions will be on this first layer, right? The second layer is where you get the output of whatever you type into the first layer, right? So please take note of that. So before I explain the other 2 layers, I'm going to show you guys a quick example. So in the first layer, let's just say welcome. So you could type along with me if you like to the data science sessions, right? And let's do a little practice just to see the explanations I was giving. So let's say A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 2, right? So basically what we're doing is that we're storing some values into A and B, right? Which is 2, right? Into A and B. And then let's say Y is equal to A plus B, right? And then in line number 6, we're asking the computer to tell us what Y is going to be, right? Obviously, if you use your calculator, we know 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, right? I almost said 22 there. Forgive me for that. All right, so now all we just do is run this, right? A is equal to 2, B is equal to 2. All right, so in order to run that, if you're using a Mac, I need you to click Command and return, right? So just put the cursor on the line you want to run, right? And just click Command and return. If you're using a Windows, you press Control and Enter, right? Or you could just highlight it, right? And then there's a small tab here that says Run, and you just click on it, right? Then you go to the next one and just click on it, right? You can see the output here. Remember, I told you guys, this is the input console and this is the output console. You can see the output here. It's giving us everything we're loading into R. It's giving it to us here, right? And then if we click run again on line number 5, you can see now it's run that code that we say y equals to a plus b. Now line number 6 is going to give us the output, which is 4, right? So when I say input, this top part is the input, right? And then when I say the output, the lower console here is the output. So please take note of that. And then to my right-hand side is what we call the global environment, right? Any data you load into R on the input would show up here in the global environment, right? So you can see that we stored values of 2 into A and B, right? You can see it's loading in the global environment. And then the new value of 4, which is stored into Y, is now being loaded in the global environment, right? So please, these are just very little things I want you guys to take note of. And then below the last section of the screen is where we have our, is where you kind of get like the plots, right? If you do a bar chart or histogram or a pie chart and all those different things, you would see it, or even a scatter plot, which we would do in this session, you would see it down here, right? So this is just the 4 different consoles that we have here on R, right? The 4 ones I needed to take note of. And then up here, you could see some tabs, right? Up here. So the first one here, right? The one on the top left, right? When you click on that drop down arrow, it shows you if you want to start a new R script, right? I think for now, that's the only one we're interested in. If you want to start a new R script, right? If you click on it, it gives you a new R file, right? Then you can go in and type all your codes and everything in there, right? I'll just close that for now. Then the next one is if you want to open a previous file that you've been working on, right? You could just click on that and just open that file there. Then the next one is the save, right? When I click on it, it saves your R codes in .r, right? So you can choose wherever you want to save it and just save it in there, right? So please, those are some things I want you guys to take note of. And then above it, for those of you using a Mac computer, you have file, you can import your data set and all those different things here. Yeah, we will not spend so much time on any of this, right? If we need it, I'll go in there and explain, but the basic ones I want everyone to take note of is the 4 consoles. All right, back to our slide. So the last point we have there is the support videos, right? So the support videos are, as I stated earlier, are like the YouTube tutorial videos, right? That would help us in maybe just some additional videos to help us in installing R, right? If you're still not able to do that or get it, right? So you can see the YouTube video for Windows and also the YouTube video for for Mac. And then if you run into any issues or whatsoever, please send me an email. That's my first name dot last name at sgsu.edu. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope no one has any issues and the explanations are clear. Thank you.